Look at this grape. Looks really good, doesn't it? Mmm. Very sweet in its taste and a really good snack overall. But looking at that grape, you probably wouldn't think that the outer layer could possibly be filled with bacteria and harmful chemicals that are harmful to the human condition. I love eating fruits. In fact, I love eating a variety of fruits for that matter. But it's when these fruits and the things we love eating come into contact with infected things like soil and fertilization that we move from enjoying the simple taste of extraordinary foods to the mystery of foodborne illness. July 22nd, 2014. A small packing company in California issued a recall on all their conventional and organic products. The recall was issued on foods that were processed between June 1st and June 22nd. Why? Why, you might ask? Well, they said there was a possible contamination of the bacteria Listeria. Listeria. And to be more specific, the recall was done on nectarines and peaches. Now let's talk about Listeria for a minute. Who does Listeria, this bacteria, mainly affect? Well, when we talk about Listeria, it mainly affects, a lot of your younger kids, elderly people, and people with, in general, with weakened immune systems. Listeria can be found on about just any raw food that's around, like your fresh cut deli meat, and also animals can be carriers. So you have to be really careful with that. Listeria, this bacteria can develop before, during, and after the process of food. That's in your deli areas, when you're cooking at home or whatever the situation may be. Okay, so Listeria is a bacteria that can be killed by the pasteurization and cooking of food. However, in certain ready-to-eat foods such as hot dogs, we've already mentioned deli meats. You guys are probably tired of hearing deli meats. Contamination has been known to occur after cooking, or before packaging, according to medicinenet.com. Okay, so what do we do about it? How do we prevent this bacteria from spreading? Well, to start with, we need to make sure we wash our hands. We need to make sure we wash our hands. We need to make sure we wash our fruits, our vegetables, and our meats as well. Although washing this food may not completely eradicate the bacteria, it's going to get rid of some of those microorganisms that are on there. The number of microorganisms on there that could be harmful to your body. you know, some simple practices, by the FDA, FDA approved practices. When you cook food, be sure to cook it all the way. Be sure to thoroughly cook your food, especially raw food such as beef, poultry, pork, and chicken. Uh, Wash vegetables, thoroughly. Run it in some hot water, and just before you cook that, just hot water, and just with your hands, your clean hands, of course, because you wash them, right? Yeah. Make sure you wash that down, and then just start cooking. It only takes about 2 to 3 seconds to make sure you're properly cleaning your foods before you cook them. Some other things. Make sure that you separate your vegetables from uncooked foods and ready to eat foods. That's a big one. A lot of people don't realize that simply when you don't separate that, it can increase your chance of mixing those bacterias and increasing your likelihood of getting food poisoning. Make sure that your utensils, your knives, your cutting boards, make sure you wash this stuff before you proceed to cook, or use these two utensils to touch your food. And I know I have a habit of leaving foods and vegetables and stuff in my refrigerator for days. I'll just leave it in there for days. Not that I'm meaning to, but it just, sometimes it just happens. You get busy and you just leave it in there. You don't realize. A good practice to get into is consume it as soon as you can. Don't leave it just sitting in there. Don't leave it just sitting in there and wait till the last minute to eat it. Because if it smells funny, doesn't look right, you should probably follow your instinct. And I'm going to go off a limb here and say probably not eat it. It's probably not a good idea. And those are just some simple practices, FDA, simple things, standards that you should be doing all the time when you cook unprocessed or organic foods in general. So now that we've talked about this bacteria, I've gone over just a few things with you guys about sanitizing, making sure you're taking care of these foods before you eat them. I'm going to hop off here, and feel free to send me an email if you have any questions. Thanks.